Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Who am I but I'm Dre Mack? Came into the game just to spit facts. Into the space that I'm in. They got me by the Dre cause I'm cold with the pen. I run no diamonds but I still shine. You can dig me cause my boy's mine. My tracks flame like a Damu. The hardest part of my tongue, demons and warm blue. I'ma throw with a gas leak. Camouflage in the mist, but you smell me. One spark, then I bet you I'ma blow up. Then throw my name around, get stupid, then you go dumb. No rest for the weary. A versus thinking in his man, but you can't see me. You rather drink than go pull up. I'm jerking knife through the game, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. I came to eat at the a la carte. Got stripped of a bear, come and brainstorm. Then I come together like a Voltron. Then I pour all the planks, you use Decepticons. Fake rappers to retreat like Cobra. 80s looking for they like. Up in the storage and I'm man. Up, down, then I'm cheap. You a beast, man. I take a beat in. Ninja Turtle rap, Turtle Grants, get defeated. High in my ride. You can call me Night Rider. You can never stop me. Cause I'm a guy bomb. Bad attitude like a rocket. My whole team's an A. And I bet you can't stop us. LL bad when I go and show up. You can hear the haters in the back. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie.
This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? This your man Dre Mack coming to you again with another episode of the Dre Mack Show. 7:30 in the morning Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast. If you're on the West Coast right now, go ahead and get up. Because you already know that the early bird gets the worm. And on today, I'm going to finally, for myself, go over this Spider-Man Brand New Day. And in that trailer, I believe there is some clues that I know some of the theories are, you know, he could be a symbiote. That, you know, he can get the venom symbiote or him or whatever. I truly believe that they're gonna make him Man Spider, and I'm going to try my best in this stream today to try to prove that. So hopefully you guys are happy. Hopefully you guys are healthy. Shout out to my man Heavy Gan over at the Heavy Gan channel, but you already know how I do. The real question is,
Say why you hating on my energy? Say why why you hating on my energy. I don't think you wanna be my enemy.
All right. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Let me check. Let me do something real quick. And let me check who is all in the house. Let me do that first. And let me check who is all up in here right now. Who is all up in the house today? Marley Moore, good morning. Good morning. Junior Network, good morning. Good morning. X-Man Xavier Phoenix, good morning. D Stizzles up in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I was rolling when I seen that picture. It was rolling. I gotta send that to Blue though. Tina, aka Minty Gazzle, what's up? Good morning. Good morning. What up, Torian Rain Reloaded? And I'll be Captain Do-Rag. You know what I'm saying? Andre Ware, what's up? Good morning. Good morning. Kendall, good morning. Good morning. Miss Roberta, the church auntie. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. PCV, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So I looked over the trailer again, and I'm going to slow this trailer completely down this time. I believe that there's some things that are hidden, and then we're going to go into the history of the whole Man Spider and why I think it's really Man Spider. And the reason why I'm saying that they might go with Man Spider for the simple fact is that I believe that Man Spider will be dope as far as someone, if you're going to have the hulkiness, you're going to have a big CGI fight, because that's what always happens. You know what I'm saying? They had this big CGI fight. Wouldn't it be dope for them to do Man Spider, a mutated Peter Parker versus the Incredible Hulk? It'd be way better than what we got in Captain America, New World Order. Yeah, was that the name of it, or was that Brand New Day? I don't know, but it'd be better than that, and I think it'd be more interesting, because then you could try to have the Hulk try to calm down this version of Peter Parker as far as him being Man Spider, so we're going to get into that today. And I just think it'll be fun. I honestly think it'll be fun. And I know we kind of talked about it last night on the Blurred AF, but I didn't go over the actual the breakdown of the video. I'm gonna give you kind of what I'm thinking on that. You said, when I see all those webs around them, I automatically thought of the Other storyline. And we talked about that last night too. My brother talked about that when we were talking about we were talking about with me, and I just think Man Spider would be a cool adaptation. Would also be a cool adaptation is some of you guys hitting that like button. And if this is the first time you're watching, like, share, and subscribe. Let me shout out all these beautiful crew members, man. Let's go. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Stop everything you're doing. Go and hit that like button. I know this is probably your first time watching, and you probably enjoying everything. Stop fucking on the channel and go and hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or one of my morning live streams. And for only $2.99 a month, you can be a part of the crew. And shout out to all my crew members that have been holding it down for Dre Mack and the crew since the beginning. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program, now in service. So, go. Bye. All right. And again, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, the join button, if you want to be a part of the crew or just be a part of the team, man. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, man. If you want to get some of this, nah, I ain't gonna say it like that. Chrissy Key, what's up? No, I don't see them going that way. Halloween is gonna be crazy with those wigs. And Rock has a Moana. Oh my god! Especially after seeing Roman Reigns on WWE, I'm like, you just could have had the Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying? The Roman Reigns hair. But anyway, let me do this. Let me transition. You know, I gotta pay for my buttery biscuits. So let me go ahead and take a quick commercial break so we can get some of these buttery biscuits paid. And I'll be right back with more of the Dre Max Show.
Knight Rider will continue in a moment.
Them biscuits I smell, Mom.
That's my Hungry Jack.
Tommy takes one of them. Them my mama biscuit. Them my mama biscuit.
Switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Does a 10-pound bag of flour make a really big biscuit?
All right. All right. So let me do this. Let me share my screen real quick. And let's get into actual history of Man Spider before we actually get into the trailer. Before we get into the trailer, let's get into what Man Spider is and its origins, everything. So we all know what comes up, or why we even have this theory. So this is from Villains Wiki. Of course, this is I don't know what that is. All right, here it is. Peter Benjamin Parker, Man Spider, Marvel Comics, mutated form of Spider-Man. Has all the powers and ability of Spider-Man, enhanced, can shoot acid from his mouth, six-eye vision, unlimited webbing, stronger in every way. You know, Gold, returning to his human form, attempted murder, mutated monster. So let's get into, and again, I believe this was introduced. Yeah. So the Man Spider is a mutated form of Spider-Man, which appeared in both the comics and the 1990s animated TV series, Spider-Man, the animated series. So let's get into it. During a trip on the Savage Land and Marvel Fanfare number 1 through number 4, Peter Parker and Warren Worthington, jeez, the third, aka Archangel, were captured by the Savage Land mutates that had created by Magneto years before. The mutates leader, Brainchild, used them as guinea pigs in a machine that devolved them into the primordial forms. Spider-Man was transformed into a monstrous man-spider hybrid and the Angel into a griffin-like form in order to use them as enforcers in the mutates' conquest of the Savage Lands. They were then sent to attack Kazar, the self-styled lord of the Savage Land, and his allies, the Fall People. Although mentally conditioned to obey Brainchild, Parker's consciousness reawakened within the Man Spider, horrified at what he had become, and he promptly abandoned the fight. Spider-Man and the Angel were later cured by Carl Lycos, drained their mutant energies, and changed himself back into the reptilian alter ego Sauron. Years later, an encounter with the villain Plant Man saw Spider-Man exposed to the mutagenic pollen, which partially transformed him into a misshapen creature similar to his previous Man Spider form. He managed to force Plant Man to hand over the antidote to him. In the crossover event, Avengers Disassembled, which I got over there, Spider-Man encountered a new enemy called the Queen, which what D Sizzle was talking about. A woman capable of controlling insects and arachnids. She triggered another transformation in him. First, he grew extra eyes and hair covering his body. Second, he changed into Man Spider form, which his human mind still intact, however. And finally, he transformed into a giant spider. In that form, he seemed to die, but instead he reemerged in human form, but with both new and enhanced spider powers, which he later lost due to the rewriting of reality during the crossover event story One More Day. And of course, what are we in right now? Brand New Day. And if you know about the Brand New Day, One More Day storyline, that you will understand is shut up, Torian. Spider-Man, the animated series. So in the Spider-Man, the animated series, Spider-Man's transformation into the man spider was not caused deliberately, but as a result of his body mutating further from the original radioactive spider bite that gave him his powers. This is where a lot of my theory comes from, because I believe they're going to adapt a lot of the storyline for Spider-Man the animated series. Why am I even pointing to Spider-Man the animated series for this? Well, we seen Spider-Man the X-Men 97. Spider-Man the X-Men, Spider-Man the animated series and X-Men, animated series always did what? Crossovers. And the two big, the biggest names in comic books when it comes to Marvel is the X-Men and Spider-Man. It's not Captain America, it's not Iron Man, it's not the Hulk, it's Spider-Man and the X-Men. They're the two biggest properties in Marvel Comics. So let me keep going. And that's why I believe it could be some truth that Sadie Sink is playing a version of Jean Grey. I don't like that, because it's just too confusing for the general audience once you're going into Doom Wars and Secret Wars. But I can see them riding with another mutant or mutate, along this trip, like Firestarter or something like that. So, all right. So, this mutation in Spider-Man's quest to get rid of it was the main focus of season 2, which I remember like it happened yesterday. Hey, Robert D, was good. Nice to see you up here. After his attempts to ask Professor X and the X-Men for help developing a cure met with failure, although he was able to assist them in thwarting a monster created with the anti-mutant scientist named Herbert London, was exposed to the serum that he had developed to remove mutant abilities. Now, if they wanted to adapt season 2, basically, of Spider-Man the animated series, or adapt a story from this, which technically I could see Destin Daniel Creighton doing, alone, because it's just a lot of Spider-Man stuff you could pull from. To have the character of what's his name? That's doing the voiceover. Keith David. You could, if they didn't do the Jackal, they can actually do the Herbert Landon character in this story, so you could be able to have that. And what do they want to do? Instead of the mutant abilities, Damage Control was trying to put a hit on all, mutates, people with advanced humans. So wouldn't it make sense if somebody was trying to go out there and make a cure way before the mutants even got there? I think that would be a hell of a storyline, because they already done it. Just bring it to a modern day, change some stuff around or whatever, and then there you go. And that's what the reason why Damage Control could be a part of this. Probably why, Wonder Man is probably more important as a overall story when it came to Damage Control than we think in Wonder Man. Because if they make this where they're trying to stop people from being superpower individuals, especially in New York with the mandates of Mayor Fisk and all that, I can legitimately see this coming into play. All right, let me keep going. All right, Spider-Man turned to his friend, Dr. Maria Crawford, for aid. Unfortunately, his initial attempts to cure himself resulted in him growing 4 extra arms, which I can see when he's talking to Bruce at Empire State University. I can see him trying to create something on his own that makes it worse. And I think that would be awesome. I honestly think, because I think the MCU is Sony has played it too safe with Spider-Man and have it went crazy. The stories that Spider-Man have, and I'm not the world's biggest Spider-Man fan. That's my brother. My brother is the Spider-Man guy. I'm the Deadpool guy, but there is a vast number of stories that you can pull from where it just gets weird. And I think the MCU, and especially with Sony, needs to get a little bit more weird with this stuff. And the reason why is because we can't have a rinse and repeat of the last, 9 Spider-Man movies, or I'm sorry, 8 Spider-Man movies. 3 of the original trilogy with Tobey Maguire, 2 Andrew Garfields, and then the Tom Holland trilogy. Now going into the 4th movie. We got to do something different. If they did something different, with the Michelle Jones characters and stuff like that, then you can get weird. And Man Spider is just as weird as you can get with Spider-Man. Let me keep going. All right, so the accelerated mutation subsequently causing him to mutate into the Man Spider after fighting the Punisher and originally mutated Michael Morbius that we would not see in this movie. The mutated Spider-Man retains some of his memories and his emotional responses to seeing his loved ones or people he reminded him of. I'm trying to tell you, they're setting this up right now. They're setting this up right now because what was Peter looking at on? If we're gonna get to the trailer, and I'm going to show you why I believe they're going to do Man Spider. Why go straight to Venom? We don't know. We don't need to go straight to Spider-Man 3. You haven't established even an Eddie Brock in this universe, and me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I rather have the Black Suit Spider-Man show up in Avengers Secret Wars than I would in just a Spider-Man story. I think it'll be cool. It can ride with it. It can be around, but just get the suit while you're in Battle World. I think that'd be the best way to do it. It pays homage to the original Secret Wars comics. I think that's the best way to go. Now, y'all can put it. You can put it in the comment section or put it in the chat to tell me if I'm wrong. But if I'm reading this right, they already got some of the main players in this in this movie to go ahead and set this up. Me personally. All right. So let me see. Okay, I'm gonna just start back over. The mutated Spider-Man retains some of his memories and emotional responses to seeing his loved ones or people who reminded him of them, but could not communicate with them. His approaches to a young redhead woman who reminded him of his love, Mary Jane Watson, then the real Mary Jane herself, and his attempt to defend his friends Flash Thompson and Deborah Whitman from the now vampiric Morbius were all perceived as his attacks, causing him to retreat from each incident in despair. He certainly retained Spider-Man's heroic nature, perceiving Morbius and the Punisher as threats, though it is implied his human mind was slowly evaporating, given Spider-Man's confusion upon returning to normal. So I'm just going to kind of leave it there. In this, of course, we could kind of go a little further, but I really wanted to just hint on that, that episode of Spider-Man, because I believe that is the biggest clue of what they can be able to do in this movie. Yeah, Spider-Man. But let me bring up the let me bring up the Spider-Man trailer real quick, and let's break some things down in this, which I believe in. Again, no volume. We're gonna play this slow. This was a really good trailer, though. This was a really, really good trailer. But we're gonna slow it down just a little bit, because I believe that there's a lot of misdirection going on. A lot of misdirection going on. Okay. All right, so me reshare my screen real quick. And let's get to what's up, Dirty Joker. Let's get to this real quick. Now, Spider-Man hanging upside down, looking at his phone, reminiscent, on. Well, actually, I mean, Spider-Man is doing Spider-Man. If you know certain Spider-Man stories, Spider-Man has always been a stalker. He's always been there's not a storyline he don't have where he just did a little stalking, a little peeping. How's the peeping? McFly, how's the peeping? You know what I mean? So I believe that's what's up, Wavy Thames. I know D says it was kind of weird. But to me, Spider-Man is literally looking at, Instagram, and these are two totally different shots to me. I think these are two totally different shots, but he's sitting there looking at Instagram and missing his friend, of course, missing the love of his life, which can I make this distinction? For one, Zendaya fine as hell. Let me just say that. Zendaya's fine. That's a beautiful woman. But Michelle Jones and Peter really didn't become an item for real until Spider-Man Far From Home. They kind of got into their relationship in No Way Home and Homecoming. He was dating whatchamacallit's daughter, the Vulture's daughter. People forget that he was trying to get with the Vulture's daughter, and Zendaya's character Michelle was just kind of there to be kind of the weird girl trying to find out what's going on or whatever. And then at the end, all my friends call me MJ. She was like, "You ain't got no friends." All right, well, and they were kind of friends. She was even talking to somebody. Especially it was what's that? No Way Home was after the blip, but Far From Home, she was even talking to some guy or whatever in Far From Home, but they were kind of making an assumption to say that they were eventually going to get together, but it wasn't solidified until the end of the last movie. Or the end of No Way Home, and then Far From Home. So that's kind of where we got it. So when people are saying, well, I think we need to move on from a relationship. No, Peter should have moved on from a relationship in the first Raimi trilogy. That's who he should have moved on. The best to me in the Spider-Man movies, I believe the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movies had the best character build up as far as the relationship. Peter and Gwen Stacy was phenomenal together. I mean, they were dating in real life, and you could see the chemistry. Just kind of like you could see the chemistry between Thomas and Zendaya. You know what I mean? You could see it from the jump. But the way that they utilized Gwen Stacy, so when her death did come, it was there. But if they're using this as a launch pad or a linchpin to, if he becomes Man Spider and he sees her, he starts to feel shame because the human side is still a side of him, and nobody beats the power of love, because it's always or the power of a boner, but it's always the power of love. And I think they could be able to still use that, which I'm gonna get into some shots where I truly believe there's some misdirection. But my man is just sitting on his phone. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a misdirection. I don't think he's sitting there looking at MJ and Ned just this whole entire time. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe he's probably looking at something else. I believe he was probably looking at a crime or something that was going on, and he has to suit up into action. You know what I mean? That's what I honestly believe. And he goes and does his Spider-Man thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I love this suit. This suit and the Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit are for right now are my favorite suits. Especially Amazing Spider-Man's. Amazing Spider-Man 2's that Mark Bagley look, man, dope. But I love this suit. And then him looking out of his mask with the reflection of what he's looking at out of his eyes, so dope to me. That is so dope. And he's calm, but we need a sad Peter Parker. We need a sad Peter Parker. Peter Parker that's going through stuff. You know, that's reading letters. You know what I'm saying? That he wrote and won't give it to nobody. And stalking Peter. I'm trying to tell you, the best Peter Parker is the one that stalks. Stop saying he ain't no stalker. Yes, he is. He loves to stalk. Ask Monica Rambeau. So Ned comes in there, and it's like a little bit of familiarity with him. I don't think that suit looks bad at all. I think that suit looks practical. It looks, especially if you grew up with like the old school Spider-Man that came out the television show. It's a lot to this that I really like, and the colors are brighter, you know, on the suit. But Peter looked like he just got his butt handed to him. He was over here washing his suit. I don't see a dryer in here, so what are you gonna do? Hang it up? They're putting the emphasis on that, and he's getting the key to the city. That's so Spider-Man. That's so Spider-Man. Oh yeah, this is so Spider-Man, and that's the lady from Daredevil. That's the lady who's snitching, the snitch on Fisk. And remember, her original character was trying to find out who Spider-Man is. You know what I'm saying? That was her original character. So I'm kind of not mad that they're going where she's doing it again, trying to find out who Spider-Man is. Maybe it's out of a hunch or whatever, but I think that's dope, even though that's some wonky CGI because they'll take care of this, because I'm gonna show you. Look how the mask just automatically covers his whole entire neck and it stops. Now his whole entire neck is covered. Nah, we ain't going. You know, but that is a very much a comic accurate Spider-Man suit. This is when people complain about stuff like as simple as a practical suit. I can tell a lot of people that complain about that are not real comic book fans. Again, am I the biggest Spider-Man fan? No, that's my brother. And my brother got all, you know what I'm saying? He got the omnibus. My brother got a lot of Spider-Man comics because that's his guy. But he would tell me if the suit wasn't good enough, that's a comic accurate suit. You know what I'm saying? We want comic accuracy, and then when we get comic accuracy, then something's going on. It's weird to me. And then this, you know, even the swinging on a lot of this was practical. You know, and Punisher doing Punisher thing, and I want to see the relationship. You know what I'm saying? With the Punisher and Spider-Man in this movie. You know, and I wonder, are they going to recreate that famous cover was the first introduction of Punisher when he's hunting Spider-Man? I think that Craven's. That wasn't Craven's Last Hunt. I don't think that's Craven's Last Hunt. I got the flip cover of that. But it's Deadpool. I can't think of what it is. And I like this kick. That kick was dope. And again, I think even though we didn't see a lot of it in Wonder Man because I think it was trying to tell his own story, I think he's I think he's going to bring a lot more comic elements to his movie. He did it with Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, I mean, he had the martial arts element and stuff like that. But what was Shang-Chi? The master of martial arts. You know what I mean? So when we get to Shang-Chi and the 10 rings and all of that stuff was dope. Shang-Chi is fire. And so I think he's going to do an excellent job, you know, with this Spider-Man movie. I think he would have did an excellent job with Kane Dynasty. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't got robbed for that. And then he stopped him from saying mother lover, you know. And then oh my God, I just noticed he was swinging backwards. I just noticed that. I didn't catch that. Watch Peter. Peter is swinging backwards on him. and here Peter go. Again, you know the comics. Peter loves to stalk. And you know what I'm saying? MJ and Ned, they got Heinekens, they got drinks, they adults now. And somebody that got them a boot thing. She got darker hair. And he just sitting there looking stupid. Stop staring. Stop staring, Tom. You look weird. All right, somebody said, hey man, what you staring at? You look weird. Wasn't a Man Spider comics released in 1971? I don't believe so, but we could check it real quick, just so we could be on the uppity up. Let me see. No, it actually tells you Marvel Fanfare number 1 through 4. Hold on. I'm gonna be Uh, 1982, Marvel Fanfare Volume 1, Issue 1 through 4, debuted in 1982. The series is known for featuring a high-quality paper, yada, yada, yada. Who cares? And for y'all that don't believe me, there it is. All right, let's get back to the trailer. This is where the transformation. He looked like he had a drunk night stalking. Why did I sound like the you stupid? I think he done got beat up. Hold up, because I didn't notice this. I think this has got to be for something different because it looks like blood is coming from his head. And I can't zoom and enhance, but blood is coming from the side of his face. It looks like it's coming from his ears. He falls out when he gets home. And I wonder, is that from the next scene is him being beat up and him washing his clothes? I think this is completely out of order. All right, he comes from the cocoon, and the cocoon in this looks like it's two totally different scenes. Because again, look at his arm. I'm sorry, that left arm, everybody keeps saying it's like a symbiote. I don't think that's a symbiote. I think that they're dude, that looks freaky. That looks freaky. I wish I could turn up the light on this, like the lighting on this or the brightness on this. But that hand looks freaky. And what I believe, because it looks like it almost looks gray. It looks like his skin is like bone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you got your hand in the water too long and it shrivel up. You know what I mean? I think, that to me, that's what it looks like. And it's gray. I'm going back to Man Spider. If he did not know, if he did not know, what happened, like he was doing this subconsciously, you know what I'm saying? If he did it subconsciously, went out as Man Spider, and then woke up in this cocoon, I could see that. You know what I'm saying? Or his body is metamorphosing or whatever, but that hand looks freaky. That hand looks like it's gray and it's coming from, because Man Spider is gray. So the hand looks different in different shots. And he doesn't have his weapon, of course, and that weapon is. So I don't know who grabbed him because he didn't. Maybe he still has the organic webs, or Man Spider has the organic webs. Now, I believe he's volunteering. There's some scientist or something, maybe just maybe that he's doing that himself. And he's trying to find out, you know, if his body is changing. You know, of course, it just shows like his, you know, his physiology. And some people was talking about, oh, well, it was black and they was trying to make it a symbiote. I think this is just going from his blood retinal scan to, his mutate scan, the radiation that's in his blood. I think that's what it's showing in this scene. I know a lot of people are trying to say, oh, it may be something. I don't believe that. And then this is where he talks. He's at Empire State University. You know, he's talking about, talking to Bruce Banner. You got the Latins Quantum. I can't think of the last name of it, but I guess to talk about it's a real life thing that to talk about. I've seen Heavy Spoilers talk about it. I've seen Emergency Awesome talk about it. I've seen all these people talk about it. I still believe that there is a chance that his body is mutating into Man Spider. And this is why that, a little bit of that conversation is I don't believe that chromodynamics, but I just don't believe he's having that conversation out in the blue with Bruce Banner. I just don't believe, because he doesn't know he's Spider-Man. Maybe the Hulk does, but I don't believe that. And this is where I think he's freaking out. I think to me, maybe this is a day shot, maybe this is in some type of lighting or whatever. If he's freaking out like this, maybe he's actually mutated. And I'm gonna show you guys in a minute. He's actually mutated and he doesn't know what the hell is going on. Like he looked like he woke up to all of these webs because he looks confused. I think all of these shots are misdirections. He's paying love to, even this shot, and I think that's obviously Sadie Sink in there. Somebody's getting the tank we seen earlier. Somebody's getting out. Escaping from this facility. I don't think that this is Jean Grey, because I don't think Jean Grey's powers will work like this, and it doesn't look right even cinematically. Now, whose powers will look like this? Shout out to Blue for this. It's Time for Mary. You know what I'm saying? It'll be an excellent way for you to bring out a character who is underutilized, and make her in the forefront. Again, shout out to my man Blue for that information. Hey, Spider-Man is talking to my man. She's in Spider-Man's house, because remember, all them weapons and stuff like that was in Spider-Man's house. And then Michael Mando was a Scorpion, and technically I believe that's who's being rescued out of that facility where the take is at. That's what I believe. My man Peter's just having a hard day. Okay, so this scene, I think this scene is a little misleading, and I could be wrong. I could be dead ass wrong. I could be dead wrong, but this is the reason why I believe that this scene is misleading. I believe that he could have been Man Spider or went through a situation as Man Spider, and I think something clicked in MJ to make her believe, maybe I know this guy. I don't think he would do this stuff, and he's meeting up with her, and they meet somewhere so they can be able to talk. And I don't believe Sadie Sink is. I will wait till the movie comes out, but it'll be dumb for her to be. To me, I'm sorry, it'll be dumb for her to be Jean Grey. What is she doing there? And why is she a villain? And why is she acting like that? That's nowhere close to Jean Grey's character. Nowhere close. She doesn't act like that. Yeah, she doesn't act like that. That's weird to have her the villain and she doesn't have the Phoenix Force. You don't even introduce the Phoenix Force and nothing like that. You already had a trash ass movie from Fox that had to. No, don't do it. I think she's playing somebody else. And then more of this tank scene, and they was trying to call this girl Rogue. Nah, that ain't Rogue. That's just some chick with a hairstyle like Rogue. And of course, this is Amazing Fantasy number 15. Shout out to that. I wonder, is that a guy he's saving, or is that one of the villains? Like in the original comic. Of course, he's fighting Boomerang, Tarantula, which is a little bit different because Tarantula normally has a gigantic spider tarantula on his chest. I mean, they recreated this mug even with the cops trying to shoot at him. I do like this. You know what I'm saying? I do like this. Now, I think this is the most. I think this is super. This is one of the scenes I think is superimposed. You know what I mean? She could be playing a Mary Jane Watson, but why would she be in this man's house? And why would she be locked up? You know what I'm saying? In that facility. Mary Jane Watson ain't doing that. So I think for misdirection, because and this is the reason why I said misdirection, Sanju. Look at this scene. Why would Peter be unmasked? So everybody, we just had a whole movie that had people not know who Peter Parker is. For him to have his mask off in this scene is totally stupid to me. It's totally stupid to me. I personally believe that ain't his head. I believe because it's weird. It's weird. And I believe he's turning into Man Spider. I think that Master Spider, I don't think he's that. I think he's, because look, I don't think that's him. I think this is all misdirect. I don't care what Neurotic says. Neurotic can burn in a pool of piss for all I care. Neurotic is not the expert on shit. Sorry, Miss Roberta. I'm sorry. Mention the name that gets me fired up. Now, have you noticed in this scene that what is Spider-Man jumping from? Y'all ain't never noticed this? Where's Spider-Man jumping from? And if the hand is jumping towards him, right? Where they land? Where they gonna land at? And who's missing in this shot? Daredevil, maybe? Maybe Punisher, Daredevil, and Spider-Man? So they can pay homage to the time that Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher fought the hand. I can see that. The only thing is, he's already in New York. He got the key to the city. Why would Damage Control be doing that now? You know what I'm saying? Why would he do that now? Like, why would they be hunting Spider-Man? And then again, this shot is so wrong because my man down here with the sword, you know what I'm saying, is looking, his eye line is looking straight ahead. The guy in the back eye line is looking forward, right around here. This guy is looking about right here. So there's a person missing here and here. But where's the drop zone from? Where is the drop zone from? And what if this is a misdirect? Because maybe the hand is fighting Man Spider. I'm calling for Man Spider. I'm calling for Man Spider. Yeah, this guy at the bottom. This guy at the bottom is not looking at Spider-Man. at all. He's not looking at Spider-Man. There's some mess going on right here. There's some mess going on right here. Yeah, that don't even look right. So there's some misdirection that's going on. And again, am I excited, for this movie? I am. I'm most definitely excited for this movie. I've enjoyed, honestly, all the Spider-Man movies, you know what I'm saying, so far. There's not one Spider-Man movie. I mean, Far From Home gets a little silly, but I still liked it. It wasn't a horrible movie. I did not care. The Amazing Spider-Man 1, there's certain things I didn't care for. But Amazing Spider-Man 2, hell yeah. Almost definitely Amazing Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is good. But yeah, there is some trickery afoot. Or a hand. Since we're not in the Turtles universe, we can't say, I mean, we in the Spider-Man universe, we can't say the foot. We gotta say the hand. But hold on, I'm gonna take a quick commercial break. You already know I gotta bake some of these biscuits for these butter bakery, type of cats, but I gotta go get my soul clean. So I'll be right back with more of the Trey Mack Show.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Now you can own one of the greatest gospel albums ever on the rough side, with only giant hits and legendary stars.
Biscuit. I know it's the truth about it. I love. Oh, how I love this biscuit. Oh, how I love this biscuit. It is the best biscuit. I know.
This treasury is not sold in stores, and when you call the toll-free number now, you also get another entire album of all-time gospel favorites.
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. So, yeah, I like I said, I think that there is going to be a payoff to this. Sorry about that. There's going to be a big payoff to this. Again, there is, I know everybody's like, I'm just curious why everyone is on the Jean Grey train. Why y'all tell me in the comment section, why do some of y'all want Jean Grey to be in this Spider-Man movie? To me, I understand Sadie Sink, if they're trying to make Sadie Sink a superstar, but didn't they do this in the Fox universe with the young lady from Game of Thrones? And how did that work out? I think because somebody got some buzz in a show or a television series and stuff like that, making them this particular character that is so iconic. Because if she doesn't bring it, if she's young and we're talking about Wolverine coming up next and stuff like that, like I'm just saying, it's a lot. It's a lot that is going on with this. Let me do this real quick. Now, I'm going to kind of play this in the man, they better not give me a copyright strike for playing like I'm talking over the commentary. What does Ace Vane have to do? And I made it slow. But again, Punisher is fighting Spider-Man while Spider-Man got extra arms. You know what I'm saying? In the animated series, right? And but Wavy Thames, guess who else could? Typhoid Mary could do that also. And then Blue brought up a good point when they said Typhoid Mary is now being featured in the latest forgot whose comic he said last night. I forgot whose comic he said. But he's being, you know what I'm saying? She's being introduced or reintroduced, to a new audience. So if normally Marvel would do that with a person they want to push, they would do that. Now, again, I can legitimately see Punisher going after six-arm Spider-Man. Yeah, it was already, but does Iron Fist even count? Is that canon? That version of Iron Fist? I don't want that version of Iron Fist to show up in nothing. You know what I mean? I really don't. But that doesn't stop them. But that's not stopping them from, you know what I'm saying, for doing anything else. It never stopped them before. So that's all I'm saying. It never stopped Marvel from doing what they want to do in their projects. So yeah, and I just don't. I'm just waiting. I'd rather her be anybody else but Jean Grey. Anybody else but Jean Grey, because let the old guard go first, then introduce your new person. This is the opposite of what they did with Blade. Mahershala Ali got introduced 7 years ago, and we got Wesley Snipes before we got an introduction to Mahershala Ali's Blade. Oh, you see what I'm saying? And what was the main conversation? That, dang, we can bring Wesley Snipes could come back before we actually get Mahershala Ali. Now, what happened after that? Everybody was clamoring for Wesley Snipes instead of Mahershala Ali that they promised this man a movie 7 years ago. You see what I mean? So you introduce Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. She goes into Secret Wars. Do you already know that there's a Jean Grey already from the Fox universe? So you're gonna have two Jean Grey. I can't get a T'Challa. I can't get a multiverse T'Challa, but I can get a I can get a young Jean Grey and and an old Jean Grey. Come on, people. I'm trying to say it causes, man. I just don't think so. Yeah, Apologetic Simmer. Yes, it's been 7 years. It's been 7 years. So again, think about it like that. They will give you how many Jean Greys? This will be the third Jean Grey, and Ryan Coogler's talking about this is the only guy I can see playing T'Challa. Y'all don't see nothing wrong with that. Why I'm saying I don't want it to be Jean Grey, because it's bigger than is also bigger than the character. It's bigger than the character. So my personal opinion. You know what I mean? My personal opinion. But exactly. Hugh Jackman, finally, he needs to go off in the sunset too. Do an Avengers movie, do Doomsday, do Secret Wars, and go off in the sunset. Let someone else take that character. And the Fox gene is not dead. Where y'all get that from? When did she die? Because there was a movie called Days of Futures Past that rewrote all of that. You know what I mean? And they rewrote all of what happened in the Wolverine movie. You know what I mean? Because that version of it, there's a multiverse. We've already seen a different looking Beast in the multiverse where Monica Rambeau is stuck at. With her mama, that's a whole nother character. This binary in another. You see what I'm saying? I could go on and on with this. I literally could go on and on with this. But you see how he was changing his. You see how he was holding his head? This is what I was thinking when I seen him holding his head. I was literally thinking this scene in the animated series where he was holding his head and then automatically his hands went to gray to, freaky three-finger spider limbs. And then, bam, busted out of his suit. Punisher like, man, I swear to God, it smelled like fish fingers up in here. What is that? I thought it was Spider-Man. This is a real spider. I'm sick of this mess. Well, I'm going to shoot it, though. I bet you I'll shoot it. I bet you I'll shoot it. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, snap. I didn't even shoot my gun. Spider-Man, give me that flashlight. So I'm trying to tell you, it won't be as animated series as this, but I can legitimately see this happening. And again, when they seen the red in his eyes, this is what the black with the red, this is exactly what I was looking at. Me personally, I'm gonna take it off of here. You know what I mean? Because I think I proved my point. But like I said, there's so much. Okay. Again, you got people rooting for Jean, and I get that. I get it. But they're going to keep showing you, they're going to keep saying, we can get anybody for the multiverse. Get anybody except for him, T'Challa. Now we can get everybody else. Y'all get T'Challa. I'm trying to tell you, it makes it worse. It makes it worse. And for the simple fact that the Russo brothers was able to get a Gamora, to kill off that Gamora, and then James Gunn was like, oh well, they got another one, the same Gamora but from a different point in time, and now she doesn't have the same adventures and stuff like that with Peter Quill, but that's cool. Then I'm saying, well, why don't you just pluck a T'Challa from an earlier time frame instead of having him, from this or pull it from somewhere else? No, we can't do that. But I'm telling you, they dug up Wolverine's bones when they were supposed to kill off Wolverine in the Logan movie, and they pulled one from another universe. The pulling from another universe, and it continues to do that, is leaving Mahershala Ali out and is leaving T'Challa out. It's only look who is affecting. That everybody else can do it, but Mahershala Ali hasn't showed up. We haven't got a recast on T'Challa. It's just even a multiverse version of a T'Challa that could be in the MCU. But yet people are like, yeah, I want to see Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. I'm sorry. I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait like everybody else. I'm gonna see the movie. I'm a popcorn. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna have a good time. All of that. But I'm not rooting for her to be Jean Grey, because then there's a third Jean Grey and I still haven't got a T'Challa. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm not rooting for that. I'm just not. That's just me personally. But y'all put it in the comment section and tell me, what did you guys think? Y'all might think it's y'all. I don't care if y'all do think it's Jean Grey or whatever. You put it, who you think? Put it in the comment section below and let me know.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that up, B.
All right, I gotta wrap this thing up, man. Y'all, again, put it in the comment section below and tell me what you guys think. With my theory, do y'all believe it's Man-Thing? And again, it was on its own continuity, but it was supposed to be the end of I don't know. They just was making stuff up after a while. But y'all tell me, do you like this theory? Could you see, Man-Thing being, being a character in this movie? Would you like to see Man-Thing versus Hulk? That'd be dope. That'd be super dope. Put it in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. But again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can never, ever miss one of my buttery biscuits again. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe higher. I got a 720 credit score. Where's my outro at? Stop doing that voice because you already know I gotta go. Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over?
What?
Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.